The family group chat was blowing up. 20, 30 messages in under an hour. Everyone was gushing about the big family trip to Carolina Beach next month. Mom had sent the first text, calling it our first full family vacation in over a decade. Nick replied immediately with beach chair emojis. Rachel dropped a list of cocktail recipes. Even Uncle Ron jumped in with some dumb joke about bringing his grill master apron. I kept waiting for someone to ask me what days worked, or at least say, "Hey Jason, we booked you a room too." But no, message after message, they talked about who's riding with who, what days the kids have off school, who's sharing rooms. No mention of me. Quick note, before listening, share which city or country you're watching from. At first, I thought maybe I'd missed a message. I scrolled back up. Nope. I texted Mom directly. Me. "Hey, do I have a room too, or should I book something?" Her reply came 3 minutes later. "Mom, oops, totally forgot. Everything's full already. Maybe you can find something nearby?" That was it. Not even a sorry, just oops. Like forgetting me was the same as forgetting to pack sunscreen. I sat there staring at the screen, phone hot in my hand. Gut tight. I'd seen this nonsense play out too many times before. Ever since I was a teenager, I've been the extra, the one that doesn't fit. Nick's the golden boy, married young, 2 kids, house in the suburbs. Works at a clean-cut finance firm where they all wear the same button-downs. Mom acts like he's got it all figured out. And me, I built a real estate development company from scratch. I employ over 30 people, just opened my 4th office. But to them, that doesn't count. Because I don't post holiday card photos with a golden retriever and matching pajamas. Every single time, I'd play it cool. Pretend I was too busy to come. Tell them, don't worry about me. That used to feel like the high road. Not this time. I closed the chat, opened a new browser tab, and typed in luxury vacation rentals, Carolina Beach. I didn't even flinch at the prices. Called my assistant, told her I wanted the best spot on the coast, booked under my name. Private chef, full service, everything. I wanted them to see what forgotten looked like when it stopped chasing their crumbs. And I made sure there were 7 seats at the dinner table, 1 for each of them. But this time, the head seat was mine. The Bentley glided through the narrow roads like it owned the coastline. I sat in the back seat, cool air humming around me, sunglasses on, phone untouched. When we turned the final curve, the view opened up. My modern beach house sat alone on a raised dune ridge above the shoreline. Down below, the family's little complex sat low by the sand like a stack of soggy pancakes. The staff was already waiting when I pulled in. 2 bellmen opened the car doors. One of them greeted me by name, offered a towel and a cold drink like I was royalty back from war. I didn't say much, just nodded and walked through the entrance like I'd lived there for years. Marble floors, floor-to-ceiling glass, ocean air everywhere. The place wasn't just expensive, it was intentional. My assistant had handled every detail. Imported linens, full wine cellar, a chef who trained in Provence. Everything was in place before I even landed. The dining room had 7 chairs, polished silverware, and engraved place cards, each one reading, "For Jason." I told her to do it that way. Not subtle, not humble, just clear. There was a family photo I'd brought from home, the last Christmas where I'd been crammed behind the tree because we didn't have enough chairs. I had the staff move it from center wall to a side table facing the hallway mirror, still in view, just not spotlighted. From the villa's terrace, I could see their complex below. A yellow vinyl umbrella flapped in the wind, fold-out chairs, kids running barefoot. Mom's voice drifted up with that fake, cheerful pitch she used when she was managing people. Then they saw it, the Bentley parked in front of my place. Nick was the first to freeze. He took off his sunglasses like he couldn't trust what he was seeing. Rachel followed his gaze. Her mouth opened mid-laugh and didn't close. Even Uncle Ron squinted like he thought it might be a celebrity. I watched it all from the glass balcony with a drink in my hand. Just me. No entourage, no smile, just calm. At noon, I walked down the boardwalk that led to their pool area. No hurry. I wore a white linen shirt open over swim trunks, shades still on. When I got close enough, Rachel noticed first. She blinked hard. Her mimosa glass slipped through her fingers and cracked on the concrete. "Jason?" Mom said it like she wasn't sure I was real. Nick stood halfway from his lounge chair, stammered, Wait, what the heck are you? Where are you staying? I looked around like I just happened to be passing through. Found something nearby? No one spoke. Mom opened her mouth again, then closed it. Rachel bent down to pick up the broken glass with a napkin, eyes still on me. Nick just kept looking over my shoulder, like maybe someone had followed me here, someone important. I sat on a pool chair next to them, stretched out, and let the moment cook. No small talk, no explanations. Just let the weight of it press down like heat off the cement. They didn't know whether to be impressed or insulted. I didn't care either way. Nick finally broke the silence. You came by yourself? Yeah. I sipped my drink. Didn't want to crash the group plans? Rachel muttered, damn. That was it. No fake hugs, no so glad you made it. Just the sound of waves, the clink of pool ice, and them realizing I'd changed the script. I wasn't the forgotten one this time. I was the curveball they couldn't wrap their heads around, and I wasn't going anywhere. I let them sit with the shock for the rest of the day. Didn't text, didn't call, just disappeared back up the cliff like it was nothing. The next morning, I sent a message to the group chat. Me, dinner at my place tomorrow night. Formal, 7 p.m., sharp. That was it. No smiley face, no RSVP required. I gave them the time and place like it was already happening. Because it was. I brought in my team that same afternoon. My assistant flew down with the event coordinator. Lighting crew came from Wilmington. Chef flew in from Marseille 2 days earlier just to prep. I didn't care if it was overkill. It wasn't for show. It was for precision. I wanted every single detail to say, I earned this. Custom lighting turned the outdoor patio into something you'd see in Architectural Digest. Warm white along the stone walls, soft uplight behind the palms, gold accents catching the glassware just right. The long table was set under a pergola strung with Edison bulbs, overlooking the ocean. Each seat had a personalized card in metallic ink. Not calligraphy, engraved, real weight. The menu was hand-curated, 5 courses, no filler. Shellfish bisque, heirloom tomato salad with saffron dressing, braised duck, roasted beet tartlets, and a dessert I had the chef design from scratch. Rachel's favorite. A millefeuille with fresh figs and vanilla cream, just like the one she posted about last time she was in Paris. I didn't forget that. At 6:55, a line of black cars pulled up to the villa, chauffeured, no Uber logos. One by one, they stepped out, trying not to look stunned. Nick wore a navy suit. He adjusted the collar twice on his way up the steps. Rachel came in a full-length dress like she was walking into a gala. Even Uncle Ron shaved for once. My mom clutched her purse tight like she didn't know whether to relax or brace for impact. I greeted them all calmly, led them to the patio, without small talk. Staff offered wine and cocktails. Background jazz drifted from hidden speakers. It wasn't loud, just enough to make them feel like they'd walked into a world they didn't have the code for. They all paused at the table. Rachel ran her fingers over her name card. "Holy crap," she whispered. Then the dessert came out. Gold-rimmed plates, each one perfect. Rachel gasped. How did he even know? She looked around like someone else might take credit, but nobody moved. Dad stayed quiet most of the meal, watched everything. He wasn't confused, he was calculating. Mom kept smiling too wide, trying to compliment every course, but her voice cracked more than once. This duck is really, tender. I didn't say much until dessert plates were cleared. I stood, tapped the side of my glass just once. Everyone looked at me. I didn't raise my voice. I didn't fake a smile. I didn't thank them for coming. I wanted to do something special for my birthday, I said, mostly because for the past 15 years, I've stopped expecting anything from anyone. Nobody moved. I used to wait for the invite, wait to be thought of, wait to be included. That got old. Rachel shifted in her seat. Nick's fingers twitched on his napkin. This dinner isn't about proving anything. It's just what happens when I stop waiting. I picked up my glass, held it steady. To the things we build when nobody saves us a seat. I sat down. No one clapped, no one toasted. They just sat there, blinking, processing, staring down into their wine like it might give them the words they didn't have. And I let the silence work. Nobody said much after the dinner, no group hug, no fake birthday song. They just left quietly in those chauffeured cars, like guests leaving a wake. The next morning, I had coffee out on the terrace by 7, sun just rising, ocean flat and silver. I didn't check my phone. I didn't need to. By 8:30, they started arriving again, one by one. No announcement, just soft footsteps and awkward hellos, like they knew there was still more coming. "This way," I said. I led them down the stone hallway to the studio wing. It wasn't big, but it was intentional, converted from the villa's original guest house. Clean white walls, museum lighting, wide glass doors that opened toward the dunes. I spent months building it out with my design team, selecting exactly what would go where. This wasn't a trophy room, this was a story. I pointed to the first board, an old photo of me standing in front of my first flip, a trash 2-bedroom in Raleigh I'd gutted with my own hands. Next to it, a timeline of projects, urban units in Charlotte, a strip mall rebuild in Nashville, 2 hotels in Miami. Every frame had real data underneath, budgets, returns, partner lists, closing dates. Nick stood back, arms crossed, eyes locked in. Rachel moved slower, reading every line like it was the first time she'd ever thought of me as someone with a plan. Then we got to the wall. One side was photos of finished projects, interiors, exteriors, drone shots. The opposite side, framed emails and texts from people with my last name. Rachel leaned in. "What is this?" I said nothing, just watched. At the top, one message from Mom. "Are you sure this is a smart risk? I mean, how many people make it in real estate without connections?" Next to it, a photo of the luxury condo building that now hosts quarterly investment conferences. My name's still on the front signage. Farther down, a text from Dad. "Son, I'm serious. Get a real job while you still can." Right beside that, a rendering of a $30 million waterfront build. Sold out in 3 weeks. I made sure the timestamp was printed in bold. Dad walked up to it slowly, read the whole thing, didn't say a word, just pressed his lips together and stayed still. Rachel gasped when she hit her own. "We're going with a different designer. We need someone with real boutique experience." It was her response from 3 years ago when I offered to do the rebranding for her little hotel in Charleston. The picture next to it was the same property, redesigned by me, renamed, and now ranked the top boutique stay on the Carolina coast. Her partner called me behind her back. I took the job. Quietly, she stared at it a long time. You did this?" I nodded once. "Pro bono." She stepped back, eyes wide, no words left. I kept moving. Let the space breathe. "This one's Spain," I said, pointing at a build we did in Valencia. "That one's Tuscany. I spent 2 years between both." Uncle Ron whistled low. "Damn, Jay, you really—" I cut him off with a glance. "Not here for that." They followed me through each wall, each frame. Nobody cracked a joke. Nobody tried to downplay it. The silence said everything. When we reached the end of the room, I turned around, looked each one of them in the eye, but I didn't explain a thing. I opened the glass doors to the terrace, stepped outside, and let them sit in it. The wind off the ocean did the rest. I had just finished a call with my CFO when I heard the knock, soft, not urgent, but firm enough to mean business. I opened the door. It was Dad. He held a leather-bound folder with his firm's logo stamped across the front like a badge. No wine, no small talk. "Got a minute?" he asked. I stepped aside. "You're already in it." He walked past me into the lounge and sat down like he owned the place. Old habits. I stayed standing, leaning against the console with my arms crossed. He laid the folder on the table between us like it was a peace offering. "I've been following your company more closely than you think," he said. "Impressive growth, serious numbers. You've built something real." I waited. "We're exploring acquisition targets," he went on. "Could be a smart play to fold you in, give you scale, resources, global infrastructure. You'd have full creative control. Think of it as a merger, not a takeover." I sat slowly. "You remember when I was 29? I asked. "Right after I flipped my 4th property and pitched you that first expansion deck?" He hesitated. "Yeah. I needed $6,000 to lock down that foreclosure in Raleigh. 6. You read the whole deck, then told me to go get a real job. Said my plans didn't scale." He sighed. "I was wrong." "Too late for that to matter," I said, cutting him off. "You didn't just pass. You made sure I knew you didn't believe in me." He nodded once, no defense this time. "I'm not interested in being absorbed," I continued. "But if you're serious about working together, We do it my way, my terms. I choose the projects. My legal team builds the framework. You bring capital only. No steering, no strings. He ran a hand over his jaw. That's a sharp line in the sand. It's not a line, I said. It's a boundary, one that didn't exist when I was growing up. I built it brick by brick. He sat back, looked around the room. His eyes landed on the framed photo near the bar, the one of me holding the keys to my first office. I'd put it there on purpose. I didn't expect this, he said quietly. That makes two of us. Then he nodded, just once, not like he was giving in, like he finally saw it, the power shift, the end of the default. I'll have my people contact your legal, he said. Good, I replied. They'll be ready. He stood, didn't reach for a handshake, just gave me a look I'd never seen from him before. Not pride, not regret. Something closer to respect. Then he walked out, and I didn't follow. I woke early, couldn't sleep. My head was clear, but wired. I threw on a hoodie, grabbed coffee, and walked down to the beach barefoot. The sand was still cold, breeze sharp off the water. I liked it that way. Quiet, real, no silverware clinking or staff standing by. Just me, the tide, and finally, space to breathe. I was halfway down the shoreline when I heard footsteps behind me. Jay, Nick called out. I stopped, turned. He was in gym shorts and an old Duke sweatshirt, hair a mess, no sunglasses, no front, just my brother. Didn't think you'd be out here, he said, walking up next to me. Didn't think you'd come looking. He nodded, shoved his hands in his pockets. We stood there for a second, both facing the water. I owe you one, he started, eyes on the waves. Maybe more than one. I didn't say anything. I used to tell people you were still figuring it out, he said. Like, when they'd ask what you were doing. I didn't know what to say, so I'd downplay it, kept it vague, safe. That sounds about right, I said. I thought I was protecting you, or maybe protecting myself from having to admit I didn't understand what the hell you were building. I glanced over at him. He wasn't faking this. He looked exhausted, but honest. I looked into your company last night, he said. The deals, the scale, your international portfolio, the partnerships. Jay, it's massive. I know. He laughed under his breath. Yeah, you do. Then he got quiet again, picked up a small shell with his shoe, stared at it, then looked up. I want to invest, he said, privately, no strings, no control. Just back you. I raised an eyebrow. Why? Because I believe in this now. I see it. I see you. I should have a long time ago. We stood there, just two grown men in the same bloodline finally speaking like equals. No performance, no competition, just ground-level truth. I reached out my hand. He took it. No drama, just a solid grip that finally meant something. I'll think about it, I said. And this time, I actually meant it. By the time I got back from the beach, the staff had already set up the farewell breakfast on the patio. Fruit platters, eggs, fresh pastries, champagne bottles chilled in ice buckets. Everyone was dressed like they had one foot out the door. Rachel found me first. She walked over, holding two glasses, handed me one. Truce? She asked. No sarcasm, no eye roll. Just one word, flat and clean. I took the glass. Sure. She sipped, then looked out toward the boardwalk's edge like she needed a second to figure out how to be honest. I used to love being the flashy cousin, she said. The one who had the cool job, the travel photos, the first house, the cute little hotel. Everyone thought I was killing it. You were, I said, just in a different way. Yeah, but you weren't just posing for it, she said, shaking her head. You were actually building something. While I was busy posting tile samples and brunch photos, you were scaling an empire. Rachel, I said, we've all chased approval. You just got yours sooner. She gave me a sideways glance, then laughed. Short, dry, real. Guess it felt good, until this week. She paused, then turned toward me more directly. So what's next? I didn't even have to think about it. I stay visible, no more shrinking to make people comfortable. Her lips tightened, but she nodded. You earned that? We clinked glasses, not loud, not performative. Just a quiet seal on something that used to feel like a rivalry, and now felt more like understanding. One by one, the family started filtering out. Luggage wheels on stone, back seats slamming shut, polite waves from tinted windows. They left slower than they arrived, softer. Like his subject line read, "Let's be realistic." His exact words, "Jason, you need to quit this fantasy and do something sustainable. You're chasing shadows." Underneath it, I'd mounted the ROI breakdown from that same project. Closed in 9 months, doubled investor returns, fully leased in 6 weeks. I reached out and tapped the glass with my finger, just once. "Thank you." I left the office without another word. In the kitchen, I poured a glass of red from the bottle I'd saved for the last night, walked barefoot onto the terrace. The sun was low, burning soft gold across the dunes, painting the sky like it knew this was the final scene. I stood there, still, letting the warmth hit my face. Then I raised the glass. Not to them, to the kid they forgot. To the 20-year-old pulling drywall until midnight. To the 29-year-old asking for help and getting laughed off. To every ignored text, skipped invite, and forced smile I'd sat through just to keep the peace. That kid didn't fold. He built. I saw him now. And they did too. And they wouldn't unsee it. I wasn't angry anymore. I wasn't chasing their voices in my head, trying to win something they never meant to give me. I was just clear. I built this seat, not out of spite, out of stone, out of numbers, out of proof. Nobody gave it to me. Nobody could take it. I took one last sip, then whispered to the wind, to the ones they overlook. May they never overlook themselves again. What would you have done if you were in Jason's place? Drop your thoughts in the comments. We read everyone. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more stories like this.